All right, in this video, we're going to talk about 3 machines: the Excalibur II, the Equinox, and the Deus II. Which one should you get? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it right now. All right, for a little bit of background, I've got 4 Excalibur IIs. I've got 4 Equinoxes, 3 800s and 1 600. And I've got 2 Deus IIs, and I got many hours on all of them. So I got a little bit of experience with them, and I want to talk about each one. I kind of started this video. I get people asking all the time, should I run out and buy the Deus, the latest and greatest thing? Should I get this? You know, so you got a new machine coming out all the time. Sometimes it's not best to run out and buy the latest and greatest. But we're going to talk about each one of these machines. I got a guy email me this morning and said, I'm 70 years old. I need to get a good machine. Should I go out and get a Deus? You know, and it's not that easy of an answer because of a lot of factors involved. And I want to kind of go over some of those. First thing we'll do is talk about each machine. Excalibur II, great machine. Found tons of relics, gold with it, no problems. We'll talk a little bit about the pros and cons of each one. The Excalibur II, I've never had one leak. I got 4 of them. I dove with them. I've only gone maybe 20 feet with them, but still, none of them have leaked on me. They've been very durable. You know me and machines. I've thrown them in and out of my boat or carry them around, whatever, and I've been pretty happy with them. You do have to make sure you keep a good battery. A battery is essential one of them things. Almost like to go with the mine lead one versus some of those aftermarket. I did use a couple aftermarkets, had a little issue, but the mine lead, not a problem. I had one machine when it come on, put them out, new battery, bam, worked like a champ. So you got to keep good batteries in those things. The one negative thing about them, they don't have a digital display on the Excalibur. If you don't have one, a lot of these new machines have a display number. A lot of times you can tell by that number what it is. Now you can learn, and I did it at the time. I couldn't do it now probably, but when I was using the Excalibur regularly, you can learn the tone, just depending on how the tone sounds, what it is, whether it's a quarter versus a penny or whatever, gold. You kind of get an idea from that, but it is, I kind of like the numbers, but some people can learn those sounds and you'd be good to go. It's not the lightest. They do make lighter machines, you know, if you got issues with elbows and all but you can put that thing on your hip too. A lot of times I will wear the main module on my hip and just hold the rod. The stick with the coil, which is not bad at all. It makes it very light. So you got some options there to get around the weight on it. As far as iron, and I do use it a lot of times to find cannonballs and shell frags and all. It will, if you got on discrimination, it just nulls out on iron, but you can put on all metal and you can hear that cannonballs and you can hear the shell frags. Great, man. I've dug tons of that stuff with that. So it's a great machine. It does good at the beach. It's a great beach machine. Not all machines will go to the beach. I'll tell you this real quick. I got 2 AT Pro, Garrett AT Pros, and I found a ton of relics with them and on land and in freshwater, but the Garrett machines do not work great at the beach. If you think about buying a new detector, I would not recommend one of the Garretts for saltwater hunting. They're great everywhere else, but saltwater hunting, I would not recommend one of those machines. But anyway, back to the 3 machines, the 3 good beach machines we're talking about. The Equinox. Equinox, I probably found more gold with the Equinox than any machine right now. I'm starting to find a lot with the Deus now, but over the last few years, I have wore the gold out with the Equinox. Equinox is a great, the electronics on the Equinox is great. I'm really happy with electronics on it. It's easy to set up. You know, I put out some videos on setting up for the beach. Great, easy to set up. Once you set up, it's good to go every time. I didn't have any problem pairing with my headphones. The underwater headphones work great. I really like the underwater headphones that they come with it. I have no issues with those. But it's got some issues. The Nox is the number one con on it is it leaks. That is the number one thing. I've had, I don't know how many leak on mine. Every one of mine have leaked. I had replaced. I just had one replaced last week. That leaked on me. John Boy that hunts with me, his leaked on him just the other day. And that is very disturbing to me. You go out, you know, you only get so much time. Well, I get 5 days a week, I'm out probably. But a lot of people, they work and then they go out, and that one time during the weekend they go out, and all of a sudden the machine floods and out, and if they don't have a backup, they're done. So it's very discouraging for having a machine that's not reliable. And that's the number one thing that pulls me against it. There's a couple other issues with it that pretty much you can overcome. The shaft gets a little wobbly, you know, but the Detect Ed makes a great shaft for it. I bought every one of my Knoxes. I had one of those on there, and they work great. The arm cuffs, I had several of those break on, but Detect Ed again comes through with a nice solid, I think it's aluminum arm cuff. Never had an issue with the Detect Ed product, so they were great for that machine. Also, let's see, not getting in the water. If you're not getting in the water, I would recommend the Equinox probably. And it's cheaper. It's not a bad price. Cheaper than both these other machines we're talking about. It's very, if you replace like I said, the shafts and the cuffs and all, and once you get it set up, it's a great machine. It's not that heavy either. It's pretty light. It's not bad at all as far as the weight of it. But if you're not getting in the water, go with it all day long. In fact, if I wasn't diving, getting in the water, I may have kept my Equinox. I don't know. I'm kind of baking up. You know, like y'all know, I moved on to the Deus II, but I tell you what, the Equinox is a great machine. So far, they've held with me when I'm detecting with the Equinox and the Deus. They've been right there, hearing the same numbers and all. So, the main issue is the flooding. That's the main issue. The Deus II, latest and greatest, right? All machines have things you like and don't like. One thing that I don't like about it is the fact that you gotta have the little wire that attaches to the coil that runs up the shaft and attaches to the top of your pod. Because I'm in the water all the time, so I gotta have that. And I'm working on ways to get around that. I'd almost rather have a wired coil than have the transmission. I guess it's gonna be nice in the summertime when you're out in the fields. It's gonna be nice. You don't have that wire swinging around everywhere, so that's good. But anyway, we're working on getting that taken care of. I have not heard of a Deus II flooding yet, so that's a good thing. That's a big plus for me, and that's the main reason I went to Deus, because of the flooding issue with the Knox. I've dug a lot of gold and silver with that the Deus II. Deus II loves it, some gold and silver, so it's really coming through for me on that. One pro is it's very light. A lot of people have, like that guy that said to me, I gotta know what to get. Well, it's a lot of, are you getting in the water? Do you have problems with your elbow? Do you have problems with, you gotta weigh each thing. Each person has to weigh it out for themselves, which one to get. I'm not gonna say, yeah, you gotta have the Deus II, it's the best on the market. Well, it's not the best on the market if you have issues or you do it, and it's pretty much equal with some of these other ones. I mean, let's talk about frequencies for a minute, because some machines, got the multi-frequency technology now. The Excal, I think, goes up to 25.5 kilohertz. Just for frequencies, for those of you that don't know, the lower frequencies will go deeper, but they won't get the smaller objects. The higher frequencies won't go as deep, but they get the small objects. Sometimes you want to dig the little objects, sometimes you don't. So the Excal is, you might lack digging a small gold chain where the Deus II might get that small gold chain potentially because of the higher frequency. I think the Deus II on multi will be up to 40 kilohertz. Same way with the Equinox, I think it's up to 40. Where the Excalibur only goes to 25, but it should go the same depth on bigger objects like a ring or something. So because of the lower frequencies in it. But anyway, the multi-frequency technology is the latest thing. But sometimes I got like one beach I go to, it is 1,000 pieces of brass like that on it, and you dig all day long digging little pieces of brass. I don't want to dig that little brass sometimes. So sometimes, like that particular beach, the Excal will probably do better than the Deus II on that beach. But if I had just a standard beach mode, but I'm going to talk about something to fix that in just a minute. But anyway, the Deus II is light. Like I said, the wire's a little pain, but But anyway, I'm working through it. I will tell you just some quick things I've learned about the Deus II. A lot of y'all asked me to put out a beach settings, and I'm going to be doing that, but I'm still playing with a couple things. I'm going to talk about that just for a minute because we're talking about frequencies. The beach sensitive goes up to 40 kilohertz, and the standard beach one goes up to, let's see, I think I got 20 some kilohertz, I think. But anyway, lately I've been using the Beach P with some modifications. It's the extra program I just added. I've been using that and modifying that a little bit. But I'm seriously considered modifying the diving program. Let's see, I'm going to tell you real quick, the diving program actually only goes up to 14 kilohertz. The beach goes up to 24. Sometimes you don't want to dig those little tiny things on there. I mean, sometimes you dig a pinhead almost, that small. I don't want to dig that. I want to dig something that's a little bit bigger, so I may look at modifying the diving program is what I'm looking at right now. So before I put it out to y'all which one I'm using, right now I'm using Beach P with some modifications. I'm going to test the diving program with some modifications because it goes up to a little bit lower frequency that will hopefully, on the beach, I won't be digging some little tiny objects all the time because sometimes you don't want to do it. But if I do that though, I might miss a small gold chain. So you got some give and takes depending on how you set this up and everything. So you got to remember that. And anytime you start adjusting one thing, sometimes it affects other things. You know, salt sensitivity, you start adjusting out, you might be adjusting some things out. The bottle cap rejection, you might reject something out. You got to be careful about that. And I'm playing around with that a little bit to see what the best settings of that is, because you got to be careful not to eliminate some good targets. And I'm going to play with that a little bit before I put out my my recommendations on some beach settings. So anyway, I wanted to go over that a little bit. So what's the best one to have? It all depends on what you're looking for. As far as beach machines go, I still would say the Excalibur II, the Equinox, and the Deus II are all good machines for the beach. So the differences are not tremendous. I mean, there are some small differences. The Deus II might be able to get that little tiny chain, where something else might not. But you'll dig less with the Excalibur, but you might dig more rings because you're going to dig less junk. So anyway, you got give and take on all of them. So any one of those machines are great machines. Just remember though, if you take the Equinox in the water, you may get a leakage. You got to remember that. But it's a great machine. It does great electronic wise. Anyway, people keep asking me all the time about that, and I'm not going to jump up and say, yeah, run out and buy this or buy that, because it all depends on some of your physical things, how much you want to spend. There's a lot of factors involved, but if you got any one of those things, you're good to go as far as I'm concerned. All right, I just wanted to give a quick update. I hope I didn't bother y'all too much, or anyway, hopefully that helps some of y'all make a decision maybe. I'll put some links down below for some, if you want to look at purchasing one, just let Don over at North Georgia Relics. He's a good guy to go to get him. I'll put his number and all up here if y'all are interested. Anyway, appreciate everybody coming along. Don't forget to click like, comment below, share, and subscribe to the Gigmaster. And I'll be having those beach settings in the near future. Stay tuned.